So welcome back to another episode, and this is a very special episode. This is all about the beat-em-ups that are out right now and the fighting game collections. We played them all, and I finally got Rob over. We get to play some really cool games like Final Vendetta today, Capcom Second Stadium, and Shredder's Revenge. The list goes on. I know.
It is like a renaissance of beat-em-ups and arcade-style games.
I know. That is why I'm wearing all my Neo Geo stuff. I'm being funny, obviously, wearing it all. It's so funny to wear all this stuff. Like, look at this.
Yeah, but
Art of Fighting hats.
We were discussing it earlier, though, that back in the day, when when arcades were big and, in the 90s and stuff, we were hanging out, if you would have had this, back then, you'd have been a king. Like, you'd have been the coolest guy in the arcade.
Because there was no merch. You couldn't get shirts and all. If I went in, people would be like, this guy has oh my God, he's got a serious problem. I'm scared. I'm scared for him. I'm scared for me.
No, you know what? I don't know if they had merch like this in Japan at the time, but he sure as hell didn't here.
A bit more in Japan than here, that's for sure.
But it's still cool.
It's
I love this.
And Rob's borrowing one of my shirts. I love this. Continue.
Yes.
And it's kind of funny. It's kind of fitting because back in the day, I always played Ken. He always played Ryu.
And I always lost. So this makes sense.
He would always leave my house swearing at me. Those are real stories. So let's start off at the beginning with a game that we've been playing, Shredder's Revenge. Like a lot of you out there, Rob, what do you think about this game? Because I come on to the channel and talked about it. What do you think of this game?
You know what? I saw the teaser, the trailers and stuff, and I thought this can't be real. They gotta be kidding, right? They're not really doing this great with this.
Right.
I was like, because the arcade games were so great, the Super NES games were so great, but I mean, in this modern era, there hasn't been a lot of really paying that much attention to the smaller details and all the fine nuance to making a game like this as great as they used to be.
Respecting the cartoon, respecting the comic book.
Respecting the old, respecting the old beat 'em up arcade style of those games.
Yes.
And the isometric view and all of that. And yet, man, wow.
It's great. And me and Rob were playing in the other room. I was playing as Casey Jones. He's playing as April O'Neil.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, and so talk about that, because we were talking about what we were playing.
Yeah. So, the first time I played it, every time I play as April, and for two reasons. One, I always liked her in the cartoon. I thought she was awesome, and I like the fact that they included her as playable, because normally it was only the Turtles, right?
Or Splinter
sometimes, and Casey Jones. The other is because all of her moves, her walk animation, all of these are references to Street Fighter Alpha characters.
Yes.
It is unreal. The walk she does is like Cammy.
Yeah.
She does the four-strike thing like Karen does.
Yeah.
She does some of Guy's moves. I think the slide kick along the ground. Like, all of it is Street Fighter. She does Chun-Li's spinning bird upper kick.
I know. And I didn't know any of that until I started to play as her.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and I started to see online people talking about that's the attention to detail there is really cool. Boom. But it's also the attention to detail in each individual level. Yep. It's so weird. I talked about this too. It feels so nostalgic and so right, and so the cartoon, so the comic book, and then but it's its own original kind of thing as well.
Yes.
Right? And it's like, as you said, it's like the arcade game, and you're playing it, and you're like, I'm having a great amount of fun, even though I'm fighting the same wave after wave of foot soldiers over and over. I don't care. And a lot more fun with 2-player and up to 6 players.
Oh, man.
I wish I had that many friends. I certainly do not. But it's pretty good that we got to play today as well.
Well, and I mean, from the moment you see the start screen, the art that they've done for this game, the pixel art they've done for the characters, all of it is so carefully respectful of source materials. The voices are so very carefully.
They got a lot of them back from the original, which is amazing.
Rest his soul, good old Uncle Phil, the voice of Shredder, who passed. They obviously couldn't get, but they did pretty good trying to get someone that was close. But I mean, the amount, the trouble, the work they went to make this so authentic.
Yeah, and it's one of those games I even said, and I didn't want to sound like stereotypical, like, oh, Happy Comics Gamer said he was happy the game was made. But I was happy the game was made.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, I'm so thrilled that they can still do games like this. And it's like amazing that we live in this time, so like 2022, and all these younger people can play this, and it's like, and so like, I know it sounds weird, but they can almost respect what we were playing back then, because look at what they're playing, it's very similar. Right? Like, it hasn't changed that much where they got these VR helmets on and like, I can't relate to you, weird old people.
You gotta use your hands, it's like a baby's toy.
Yeah, I know, you can relate to us a little tiny bit, which is great, and I'm so happy so many younger people, I always think about younger people playing like this game and going, oh wow, and discovering 2D games and loving it like we did.
Right?
So good and all that. So had a great amount of fun with that. You're still at home unlocking the main game.
Yep, I'm on level 17, and I am forcing myself to only do little bits at a time, because I want to drag that out. I want to as much as I can.
Yeah, I know. I know. I just want to level up all my other characters and stuff like that. I'll do that over time, that's for sure. And something else we were playing, I with Rob coming over, I was so excited to see his reaction to Capcom Stadium Seconds. I wanted to see what you thought of this. So, what were you thinking when you saw the games and all that stuff?
Okay, I saw the first Capcom Arcade Stadium, and it was good. I mean, there were some great games in it.
Strider, all that stuff. Yeah, good stuff in there.
This one, and then just I know the first thing of a lot of people that I have talked to, that I've chatted with through Facebook, whatever. Yes, the Mega Man, the Power Battle, and Power Fighters are in there. Perfect, arcade perfect. So happy. Mega Man happy. But the list they put in this thing is ridiculous.
It's crazy. And so it was interesting because Rob had never played Mega Man, the Power Fighters.
That's right.
And because you wanted to wait to...
I was trying to hold out until I could someday, oh glorious day, get my hands on the actual CPS2 board.
Right.
The actual arcade board. But then it would have to have the suicide battery removed and have the ROM redone and all this stuff.
Way too complicated.
But so when we sat down, I was like, screw it.
Let's just do it.
I need this.
Let's just do it.
I need this.
And it's fun, and it's so funny that you still play these games, even for us. We played them back in the day. And still playing them is there's still that magical feeling with the Capcom games.
There is.
That this is something we grew up with. It was a really big deal.
Capcom was the king of the arcade.
They were.
It was their element. It was their world.
Yeah.
And they did it so well. And you could just... there was a similarity to a bunch of different kinds of music in the different games that you knew when you heard arcade music if it was a Capcom game or not.
Yeah.
There was a look that you knew. And you knew that if you saw Capcom, you were going to have a really good time and you were going to spend a lot of quarters.
Yeah, either on the NES or definitely in the arcades. You know, like playing Captain Commando in the arcades or anything like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then we played some old games that you remembered. And like Black Tiger, and I told him, I said, don't tell the story in here because I want to hear it here.
Okay, Black Tiger. The first time I saw that game, the very first time, was at Scott 72 Cinemas. Yeah. Remember, just down at Scottsdale Mall.
No, I know the stairs. I did those stairs.
We always used to.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah.
Crazy, man.
I know.
This dude in his skateboard back in the day, invincible, insane.
I did it once.
Fearless.
I was never going to do it again.
But no, because we used to go to London Drugs and then around the corner and sneak our candy.
Yeah.
In their lobby, they used to have a couple of arcade games, and this one time I went, and I don't even remember, I remember the game more than the movie I went to see. It's how impressed I was. Black Tiger was there.
Yeah.
And we were well before the movie, and I had some time, and I had some change left over from buying my candy, and I threw a couple quarters in, and it changed my life. I had never before seen an arcade game like this.
What was it about it that did it for you?
The fact that it wasn't just a standard run and gun, beat 'em up, shoot 'em up. You had to collect money. You could buy items. You could buy upgrades. It had a lot of RPG elements to it. The graphical style was very unique to itself, especially those sort of brown orc-looking, kind of bald guys with the shields.
Yeah.
Those sprites have always stuck in my mind as being so tied to that game, and I love them.
Yeah.
But you had this Conan Barbarian-looking big muscly dude, and he had the whip with those daggers.
All the games back then were very medieval style, eh? Like everybody was influenced by those movies, and especially Capcom.
First game I know of. I'm not gonna say it's the first ever. First game that I know of from Capcom that used Zenny as money that you then saw later in Mega Man Legends, and also in Breath of Fire.
Yeah.
So that sort of was where their Zenny as a currency came from, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. But I mean, just the experience of playing a game that was like that. There was more RPG elements. As an arcade game, just insane.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see that game, and then also see like Magic Sword, right? It's so neat to see that game came out in 1987. This game came out in 1990, and you can see how they kind of built on that a bit.
Absolutely.
So you can kind of go through different levels the way you want to kind of go through it, and that's a beautiful game. We were playing that game too.
And I love seeing that when they allowed 2-player simultaneous. Brilliant. And you could find and sort of release if they were captive, other helpful characters.
Yeah.
So good.
It was great. I mean, we did that. We also played Pocket Fighter.
Oh,
because back in the day, me and Rob, we both got a copy of Pocket Fighter. A copy.
Yes.
Back then. And we played the ever-loving crap out of it. We loved SD characters of
I
it all.
was about to say, how could you not love the SD style of the Street Fighter characters with similar moves, with those like crazy over the top weapons and stuff?
And they pull out hammers and stuff.
And you had to collect gems to get your supers.
It was cute. It was fun. It was just one of those ones you enjoyed playing. Even in this collection, it was one of those games. I'm like, this game makes me happy.
Nostalgia.
Oh my god! And then we played a game that Rob had never played. A game that I used to love from back in the day. Saturday Night Slam Masters.
Oh, what? How did I not play that in the day? I feel like an idiot.
You know what though? It was only in certain arcades, and like back then you either played it and you never did.
Yeah.
You know, like even back in the day, I played UN Squadron Area 88 in one arcade and never saw it ever again.
Really?
I played it in Bellis Fair. But we played Slam Masters. We played Slam Masters, and it was so much fun to use Hagar. And you're like, hey, is this the game you came from? I'm like, no, he came from Final Fight.
I thought he came from Final Fight.
Yeah,
but then I was like, well, was this before Final Fight?
No. Final Fight was first, yeah.
That's so cool.
And it was so much fun to play this game until this guy won. I was so annoyed. He picks a character that looks like him.
I picked the big fat guy with a beard and mostly bald head.
Yeah, I was
two
like,
little mohawks. I was like, I picked this guy.
I couldn't remember how to pin. I'm like, because I kicked Rob's ass, and then I'm like, okay, how do I pin? I press all the buttons. I'm like, how do I pin?
And then I was button mashing, and I was like, the only button I haven't pressed is this one. Bing, pinned. Yeah!
I was annoyed by that.
Champion belt.
That was funny. And then we went on, so we did all of that, and I think that collection is really amazing. Yeah. And then we finally got to play Final Vendetta, a game, and I want to say something about. Do you want to hear about this game?
I do.
Is that everybody they came out the same week as Shredder's Revenge, so everybody's like Shredder's Revenge, and Final Vendetta is like, hey, me over here.
Poor guys.
Even for me, I was just like,
same.
I was kind of waving through the window, going, hey,
I see you.
I'm playing Shredder's Revenge.
Yes.
And so I felt really bad about it. I'm like, okay, we've got to play this game. So we sat down and we played it in the other room. What do you think?
Whoever created this game, and if they ever see this video, you are doing the Lord's work. You have encapsulated everything that was amazing about 90s arcade games, from the oversized sprite characters on the screen to the beat 'em up button mashing action, to the way that if you do certain supers it actually takes a little bit of your life, but other ones you can build up a gauge, the food that you get out of garbage cans, the way that the boss fights are set up, the way that the opening cinema is, all of it is so a love letter to 90s arcade games and Streets of Rage.
Yes, Streets of Rage, Final Fight. I mean, if you play this game, and I think a lot of people are going to play and say, well, I've already played these types of games. And I mean, yes, you have. But you know what? This one's still a lot of fun. And it's one I think some people are going to pass on.
Don't.
Yeah, because it is fun. Me and Rob had a blast in the other room. And really good controls. Really solid controls. That's the one thing. Because there's a lot of 2D fighters. Some of them are hit or miss, no pun intended, where the controls aren't that good. The controls are really tight in this one. Yes. Very much like Streets of Rage, where you grab a character and then all of a sudden you can do moves on them and stuff like that, break their backs. That's what I was doing a lot of times. I was really enjoying that. But I love the big characters that you're talking about. The big over-the-top sprites and good animation. Really nice animation.
And I love the fact that they purposely, I mean, this hardware now can handle billions of different sprites if you want.
Yeah.
But they purposely color swap the different sprites of the different enemies.
Yeah.
Just like the old days.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of the fun. That's part of oh my god, he has a yellow vest. Oh no, he's got a pink vest now.
Now we're in real trouble.
Now we're really now we're really in trouble and all of that. I actually really enjoyed this game. Some of the music, I was like, oh my god, Yuzo Koshiro is going to be going, hey, wait a second, that sounds a lot like my music. And that's a compliment because the music is really good, especially some of the boss music was really excellent, stuff like that.
I even appreciated the fact, there was a point where we were playing where it was an extremely cheap kill.
Yeah.
Basically, this little thing goes for half a second, and then a giant cardboard container that pretty much fills the entire area, squashes you dead.
I didn't capture footage for this, but yeah, if you don't run through the dash through the level, it'll crush you.
But well, no, because you couldn't. You were up against the wall. You couldn't.
Oh, so
you couldn't escape it.
Are you sure that you were?
I think there was a little gap at the very back.
Are you sure that I didn't run across and you were hanging back a little bit, holding the screen back?
No, because later I went right after it fell. I went with you, and the screen stayed locked.
Oh,
but it's
so the thing is to run back, maybe.
But you know what? Yeah. I actually appreciated that.
I did too.
You know why? Because in the old arcade days, they did that on purpose to make you spend more quarters.
Yeah,
those
damn,
bastards.
Damn, yeah.
But it was so good. I was like, I can't be mad.
No, you can't be mad and all that. And it's just like, what a time, honestly. I find it so surreal. 2022.
Yep.
Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Final Vendetta. We got the Capcom Stadium Collections. We got like Capcom Fighting Collection over here. It's like, it's weird. It's great for people our age.
Yes.
And it's great for younger people who are going to discover it, but it's really weird. It's all for us.
Yes.
It really feels it's all for us, you know what I mean?
It's like this renaissance is happening of the arcade days.
Yeah. A celebration
Yes.
of that. And I love how Capcom is really embracing it, saying, here's all these collections, take them. It's been a lot of fun. And I asked Rob, I said, Rob, come on over today, please. We got to relive our youth and play some of these old arcade games and play some new kind of style arcade games with, Final Vendetta and stuff like that.
You know what's the icing on the cake for this for me? This summer is the 30th anniversary of the release of Crystal Pepsi, and it's back in stores.
Oh my God.
So not only do I get to experience my 90s arcade game
This is not
fun,
sponsored by Crystal Pepsi.
I get to taste my wondrous favorite soft drink of all human time. My Crystal Pepsi. I know it's not sponsored by them, but I love Crystal Pepsi. And it's like it comes
Where
back.
did that come from?
Because it's a 90s thing, just like these.
Okay.
These are 90s arcade games, and it also brings me back to the 90s. So for me, it's like perfect. I get a Crystal Pepsi, I get a Crispy Crunch, I get some chips.
Oh God, I'll be up and take them. yeah, that's absolutely. And I want to say also, Rob has been streaming on Twitch.
Oh, yeah.
Follow him over there, twitchtv.robmanworld. So we can see Rob. He streams, I think, about 4 times a week.
5 times a week.
Five times a week. This guy is a streaming machine. Definitely check him out over there. And I'm just glad you could come over today, hang out with me, and play some good old school arcade games and games from Capcom, the heydays of our youth. So what have you guys been playing? Also, let us know down below. Anyways, guys, until next time.